Everyone, welcome in. Betsperts Golf here for a little bit of Ryder Cup recap. If you have not got enough Ryder Cup recap yet, I'm going to give you more on a Wednesday. You think you're out of the window of Ryder Cup recaps? No, we got more. And Chicken Farm, Sanderson Farms. We also have
Adair Manor
Dunhill links. Yeah, we talk Adair Manor. I'm excited for Ireland. We've shifted actually first. We got to go President's Cup right here in Medina. I'm ready for that one. I'm excited for it. Andrew, what's going on?
The best take I saw was the President's Cup is bad for the US because it reinforces bad matchups or bad pairings. Like, hey, this pairing did really well at the Ryder or at the President's Cup. Yeah, they were playing not Rory and Fleetwood. They were playing like a Canadian and a South African. And no offense to some of those guys, it's very good golfers. The level of the European Ryder Cup team and the Internationals President's Cup team, there's a pretty big gap there. So that was an interesting take that I hadn't really thought of that kind of checks out. Like if you are the Ryder Cup captain,
I was saying it. I was early there, and I don't even think it's that. I think it's just the novelty of it. Having to get up every single year for a team event takes away from where the European side, they're just thinking about Ireland, right? Like, and the U.S. team's not thinking about Medina, right? They're not thinking about the President's Cup, but it does. That's a 4-day event.
I don't know. So, it kind of just feels like going through the motions. Like, go down there, win. The prep work probably doesn't feel as. Although I've read some bad things about our prep work, and when I use our, I am talking about the U.S. because despite it all, as soon as that trophy was raised, I'm back. Coors Banquet. I got my U.S. Amateur. I'm a red-blooded American again. I don't know if I can cheer for him at Adair Manor unless we're getting like 3-1. Obviously everything in betting is just price. Like you can, I think this guy wins. Doesn't matter if his price sucks. So we'll see what the
like
price
plus
is.
120. It's like plus 120.
Yeah, that's horrible. We'll see. And something maybe I learned from this one is wait till the week of. I couldn't believe how far it swung in the U.S. favor.
For sure.
I felt like I'd bet too much on Europe, and I still said I kind of have to add a little bit to this plus 170. That's a terrible price. The takeaways, and the main takeaway, and I'd love to come on here and just trash Keegan, just for your sake. He wasn't good, but the main problem was the setup. And we get 2 days in, it's like we set up a putting contest, which is the highest variance kind of golf. And then we're complaining that we're losing in a putting contest where putting variance can sometimes just nip you. Like such is life when nothing matters until you get on the putting green. Like, he hit it in the rough. It didn't actually matter, especially come day 3. Oh, he hit it 40 yards into the rough. Well, that's where the people walk because the crowds are just massive here. So actually that's an even better lie than hitting it into the first cut or the second cut, because it's basically just sitting on trampled down grass and you can do whatever you want from there. So Europe made so many birdies from bad, I'm doing air quotes if you're listening in podcast form, bad lies that just, it was set up. It was like, let's play the Kapalua in freaking Long Island. Like it's the Sony, it's a putting contest. It's silly. So I didn't love that. And it reflected poorly on Bethpage, especially for those who don't remember 2019.
Sure.
Like, this is a tough course. This is a good course. It made it look kind of shitty, which I didn't enjoy either as someone who likes, a course with some teeth. You don't have to go set up in the U.S. Open, but probably leave the rough at like 3.5 inches if you ever do this again.
The course setup, without a doubt, the biggest issue here. The rain was gasoline on the fire for the course setup.
Yeah,
right. So
and then it was soft as shit. We had ball in hand.
We saw so many insane, playing the ball up versus playing it down versus what we saw like Oakmont, for instance, right? That was a beast of a course. It was wet. They played ball down the whole time for a U.S. Open, which makes sense. And I'm not saying they should have played ball up, but it just, all of it combined was problematic. We saw some insane golf shots all week, partially because it's ball up, super soft greens. I mean, like Rosie made that like pitch from on Sunday, even where like it took him, 45 minutes to get a drop ruling that he liked. He had like an insane, like from the side. He was like 80 yards, but I mean, not a great lie, side hill lie. That ball should not be able to just stop anywhere and just, boop, just people just absolutely tossing darts all over the place. Henley missed the pot on 18 on Sunday. They had like an insane bunker shot from, like deep out. It was brutal.
Yeah, I thought that was a worse slide than it actually was when he first put it in there. Like, he can probably get this on the green, but to put it to like 8 feet or whatever, it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, there's some insane ball shots.
I mean, this goes well beyond the Ryder Cup. I personally have an issue with bunkering right now on the tour. Guys are too good at it, especially bunkering around the greens. Like, we either need to make them all 4 feet deeper or introduce some sand that has bigger pebbles in it, because it's all this sugar sand shit where basically if you hit the ball like you should, and they all can now, it's less penal to hit it into some of these bunkers than it is to hit it into many of the runoff areas where you actually have to try to hit it there. So I don't love, and obviously that was a fairway bunker and that was a much tougher shot, but in general, bunkers they ain't what they used to be. I'm not saying we need 10-foot pot bunkers on every course, but make them deeper, make steeper front walls. I don't know what you need to do, because it's just like, as long as he's not short-sighted, that's probably just an easy up and down. It doesn't ever feel like there's drama around, oh no, he went into the greenside bunker and that's going to be a big problem. It only really happens when we get to like the Open or a really tough course that actually has some teeth to it. So yeah, it never felt like anybody was ever in trouble across the whole thing.
They weren't. There weren't bogeys out there. There weren't bogeys.
No.
Right. It was just par or birdie. Just
even
never had a shot.
Like, oh, he might have gone behind a tree. Not really. Like, there's an opening there. There weren't enough trees. There's not enough. Yeah, there just wasn't enough problematic areas. There wasn't enough defense on that course, which again turned it into a putting contest. And if you let a really good team into a putting contest, I mean, that could have gone either way. Granted, we had probably bad decision choices, sending Morikawa and Harris out there twice, and then the Scotty thing on Thursday where he was on the odds and evens were wrong.
Correct.
According to how
the more egregious part was that they seem to have an internal discussion among caddies and players to make that switch, which is again, as someone who wants to cape up or defend Keegan, that's tough. That's a tough scene. Like, that should have, whatever they were using in terms of analytics, it failed, or they ignored it, or they weren't thinking of it. And again, this kind of is the common thread throughout. In no way, shape, or form is that a mistake that the Euros make at all. Like, they have that dialed in.
No, they got their shampoos figured out.
They got the shampoos. They got the extra black lights, whatever you need, switching the bedding, all that stuff. Like, they were absolutely dialed in. And that actually is the bigger piece of this, is you continue to kind of zoom out into where we're at in terms of the Ryder Cup. We have to be realistic in terms of its importance on the calendar. I do think that Keegan did a great job of getting these guys mentally ready. I think he did a great job at getting them to buy in. Like, I feel like the U.S. side cared. I feel like they wanted to go, and I don't think it was just another event on the calendar. You see emotion in players and all those things. So I do think that they care. But again, go back to the President's Cup thing. This is it. Keegan still was competing to be on the team. He was talking about all the thoughts and all the things he had going on and leaning on his vice captains. This is what Luke Donald has been doing for 2+ years, 3.5 years at this point. He's still playing golf on the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, but not at a competitive, I'm going to still make one of these teams type of level. He's aware of where he's at. His golf had to be more of a strategic thinking man's golf. He has, there's just so many pieces structurally that are a deficit to the U.S. side comparatively. We have links on the Euro side that are pieced back still to Seve. Like, Jose Maria is a vice captain, right? Like, Jose Maria was Donald's captain at Medina when we had the last road win. There's continuity throughout. There's continuity, obviously, bringing 11 of the 12 back There's just so much of that where the US side just seems like every 2 years we reset, and like there's no continuity on previous vice captains. There's no hierarchy of vice captain to captain. It's just like, well, who was a pretty good golfer? Who won a major? Who was on Netflix and really shows that they care about it? There's no plan on the US side. It's a PGA of America event, right? Like they run 2 events all year. They're 2 of the 5 biggest events that we have. Their job is not to run events, right? Like they're in charge of the 31,000 PGA Tour.
Yeah, the working pros. Yeah.
It's a wild disconnect in terms of how it's done on the European side. And we have to start to shift on the US side if we want to meet the moment in terms of the magnitude of the event. Because we're, as fans, we're going to start talking about this in March, Andy. We're going to start talking about like who, I mean, they have to, first of all, make a 2027 captain's pick soon, right? They're going to have to do that before we see Snedeker at the President's Cup. We have to figure out what's going on there.
Lou Holtz has got to pick up that phone.
Yeah. God. I don't think that those are awful ideas. Not necessarily Lou Holtz specifically.
No.
I think stepping outside of the realm of golf, like it needs to be someone's kind of full-time job. It needs to be someone that has a little bit of a mindset. Well, that would be a unique shift.
I can see somebody like that being on staff. That can't be your captain. Your captain has to be a golfer, I think. But I think it has to be someone older. Like you said, the Keegan thing, and maybe not a hot take. I feel like people have brought this up, but does Netflix bear a little bit of responsibility for this loss? Like the how big that show was and how blown up the freaking call and the suitcase and everything got? Didn't it kind of push towards Keegan, which was again, it's the wrong choice because he's just a little. He's probably the right captain in like 10 or 12 years, whatever. Like give it. Exactly. I agree. Like, I think the overlap was Donald's last one was Medina. Keegan's first one was Medina, I believe. I think he played 2. You want a guy who's a little, like you said, the biggest part is he's not focused on his playing career anymore. This is his main focus, is getting this team ready. So it needed to be somebody a little older. And truthfully, if we're blaming Netflix, we can also blame Greg Norman. We can probably blame Liv a little bit because this was supposed to be Phil. I don't know how Phil would have been as a captain. I'm sure he would have. Obviously, he's always trying to optimize his life with his coffee and his chews and stuff. Like, I feel like he is probably, the good stuff. He's probably the correct answer for 27 if they can just get their panties out of a bunch and realize, like, hey, it is what it is. Like Phil Mickelson's a icon in golf. He's at that point in his career where he can focus on this. He doesn't, even if he's playing some live events, it's not like he's going out there and this is his life and he's trying to play for FedEx Cup points to make his nut. He's going to be fine. I think he needs to be a part of the conversation. It's funny, all the names that like Tiger is a terrible choice.
What if we just shifted into this new realm of Tiger in his career where once he comes to the realization where he's such a dog, right? He can't let go of the fact that he wants to be a competitive golfer.
I don't think he can ever lose that. Even if his body's given up on him, I don't know that you can change the mindset. I don't think he's the correct choice for a captain. It's like Michael Jordan, the GM, man.
It was terrible. Yeah, we've seen that historically. The NBA is a great example. You even get into the the NFL side. We haven't seen as many like great NFL players become head coaches. You see Dan Campbell's. You see some guys that kick around, or maybe they played D1 ball or D3 football.
A lot of them are like, hey, he was a quarterback for Harvard. And
when you start to
played for
the NBA guys that were like really, really good players have not historically been really good coaches. It's been the lower levels, the Rick Carlisles that played in the league for a long time were never like the guy. They have an understanding of how the impact of like the 12th man, the 15th, guy on the end of the bench matters comparatively. So I understand the Tiger mindset. I just think like if you just said, hey, it's Tiger, you get the next 2, you get to be the first guy in US. We haven't won a road Ryder Cup since the President's Cup's been a thing since 94. 93 was our last road Ryder Cup win. 94 first year of the President's Cup,
and that's when they were playing like the Belfry every year. Like
Tiger, you get Ireland and you get Hazeltine, and like these are your 2. because I think the carrot that would be appealing to Tiger would be he gets to be the answer of who could get that road win, right? That is appealing in a way. So I don't disagree.
I think he's focused on his pop stroke and all the other. I don't think it's something that he desires. Like, he doesn't want to be the coach. He doesn't want to see like, hey, I made these other guys good. He doesn't give a shit about that. He wants to be, I want to win myself. I want to play.
I know. I agree.
And he wasn't even really good in Ryder Cups. So,
and I think that's part of it. That's part of why I think it's viable, because there's a Tigers didn't give a shit about the Ryder Cup. Tiger wasn't impactful in the Ryder Cup. He can change the Tiger narrative. It's the only thing kind of in his career where, like, all right, team events, he kind of was meh. That he could kind of reframe his Ryder Cup history by being a successful captain. Overall, I agree with your points. I think the mindset is he's too much of a dog. He hasn't been that, like, leader of men. He's been isolated, which I also think is part of the Ryder Cup piece in terms of like big picture Euro US, is like these Euro guys grew up like Rahm, like that's Seve, right? Like you grew up in that. That was a big piece of it, where you grew up rooting as an American for Tiger and Phil.
And Jose Maria, and everybody. Like, you just had everybody and all the English guys, so Jacqueline and everybody that followed him from the Isles, and half these have been played in Ireland for the Rorys, and I don't know, the Scandinavian kids are just good. Like, so I know there wasn't a lot of Scandinavian players in the past Ryder Cup teams, but God, who, like Stenson? I'm trying to think. Was that it? I mean, outside of the British Isles, UK, whatever, and some French players, and then your one German.
Yeah, Bernard was there for a little bit.
It was Bernard Lang. It was a lot of just Spain and the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see that expanding.
Norn made a team.
And maybe that's part of the reason why they're starting to pull ahead. You're seeing better golfers come from other places as well. It isn't just, hey, here's 10 guys from the UK and maybe a Spaniard, and then a throw in.
Yeah, they do have the better team too. We're just being honest. Like,
yeah, that was the thing too. Like that was a big reason why I bet them. Was just like, right? I said I can't justify one of these teams being better than the other. There should be a pick 'em. Yeah. There should be coin toss kind of bet, and you're getting a huge dog price in this team. So, yeah, I don't know what the answers are. I am going to do my best to work with the crowds ahead of Hazeltine so that we have some good banter, but we're not using slurs against Rory constantly. Honestly, he's not that old. He'll probably play in 4 years.
Like, 1,000%.
He's going to be like, what, 38?
Yeah,
that's the other part that sucks. Like, some of the guys are aging out, but boy, half that team is like 25, and Rory's still going to play. Hatton's absolutely going to play. Rahm's
the only guy that could possibly age out is Rosie, and I don't even think I don't know if he's borderline. They're taking him.
You bring him to play like 2 sessions and go 1-0-1 anyway. Yeah.
They managed him with 3 sessions this time. He was a killer. Like, what did he do on
Fleetwood? Just looks old. He's not actually that old.
Yeah,
he just looks like he's 52.
I mean, Bryson and Scotty, which is a pairing that you could obviously poke holes in for sure. They were like 9 under through 16 or something like that. But Justin Rose was like 6 under through the first 9. I mean, it was, it was a wild showing. There's a lot of really good golf. Kudos to the European team. There's only one other point that I wanted to make that I think is, I forgot. I just had a brain fart, but I'm interested to see what happens as we move forward. Do they bring Luke Donald back for another run? Somewhat unprecedented, but it's, they're obviously pulling for it.
Give them one. If it were, and just the way it works, and this would almost never happen because it's so hard to win away anyway. But the fact that the next one's at home and they should be favored, and he's just been so good, like, you run him back one more time. Let him have his 7th win. I think he's 4-0 as a player.
Yeah.
Like, just let him victory lap at is it Adair? Am I saying it right?
Yes. Yeah.
Adair Manor.
Yeah.
I do like that comment from when they interviewed Shane Lowry after he sunk the putt to have the match or retain the trophy, what have you. And they asked, like, are you excited about, the next one's going to be in Ireland? That's your home country. And obviously, I don't know if Shane actually makes that team in 2 years. He's starting to get towards the end of his useful years, although he's still a killer in this format when he's with the right partner. He's like, yeah, it'll be a lot nicer than here. I think he heard it a lot too. Like, if they were giving it to Sepp and Mackey or for being fat, I'm guessing Lowry got plenty of fat jokes.
I'm sure,
which is fine. He partied.
I know, Scotty's going to be the player of the year, and I think rightfully so.
Shouldn't.
I think it's really, really hard to not think of how, and I would tee this up when we got started in the show in January.
If you made me vote, I'd vote for Rory, and I hate his guts.
I was telling you it was going to be a tough year for you because this really sets up where it could be the year for Rory. And he went, think about what he's done this year.
Players, Masters, Grand Slam, Irish
Pebble,
Open.
Wins at Pebble.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where it's almost like the fatigue factor when somebody wins MVP in the NFL and they're having a great year, but it's like, well, he won it last year. And some guys aren't going to vote for that. And I wonder if Rory sneaks it out because it's crazier. And they can probably be like, we'll give it to Scotty next year when he wins the US Open and completes his slam in record time.
Yeah, it's great. On
his birthday.
Signature event at Pebble, winning the Players, closing the career Grand Slam loop, winning the Irish Open, winning the Road Ryder Cup, staying together with your wife. Like, I don't know, he had a presser after too. He's just talking about like it was the best year of his life. You sound like when you kind of
divorced,
when you kind of hit the skids at home and then you kind of bounce back from that. The bounce back can obviously put you in a spot that it was better than it was before. The guy's on top of the world right now. He had 2025 was Rory. So good for him. He's been, best European golfer of all time. And, definitely solidified that this year with a fantastic cap and played really good golf and did it while he took an absolute beating out there, playing 5 times. You could tell Scotty and Rory had nothing left in the tank. On Sunday, it was not their best singles matchup there. It could have obviously capped by beating Scotty. But Scotty didn't play poorly, but Russ didn't do him any favors on Friday. It was rough. He and Bryson played pretty well together. Again, they just got kind of steamrolled by, great teams at the other time. So yeah, it was great. We both got what we wanted.
It's another good year. Yeah, I couldn't believe we got the close match. I didn't watch the first half of it very closely because it was an NFL Sunday. I have to watch NFL. And once it started to get close, I'm like, the big TV has to switch to golf. I have to watch like as much of this as I possibly can because this is actually going to get good. It was fun. I had exact score props of 14.5, 15, and 15.5 for Europe. And I had marked those as L's in the spreadsheet going into Sunday. Because I'm like, no way. Like, it'd have to be like 9-3 or something silly. Like there's just shit doesn't happen. So getting one of those home at 12, that's like been my white whale. Because I bet those, you can't just spray like 7 or 8 of them. That feels like cheating. I always picked 2 or 3 to get one of those home. Felt really good. So 15, I didn't actually, that last hole was inconsequential. Whether it was 15, 13, or where it ended up, it would have been 14.5, 13.5, I believe, which actually I did lay a -1.5. So it wasn't completely inconsequential. That little prop on the alt line got home as well. And it's one of those things where it's like when your NFL team's up 28-0 and you're like, oh, I should have bet all these alts. And then it ends up being a close game. That's how I was feeling on Saturday. When I had only laid the -1.5, I'm like, oh, I should have laid 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5.
Yeah.
I should have had all these props. All those would have been losers. So thanks to the US for making me feel a little better about that, I guess. And yeah, my final thought is that Rory's not the best all-time European. He's not past Seve in my mind. It's close. They have the same amount of majors, I'm pretty sure. And Seve's more likable.
I feel like
it's close.
Seve was a dick. First of all, didn't want to
That's what
play
makes
in the
him
Ryder
cool.
Cup. I know, but I think the most people that are going to argue that it's not Rory would have argued that it was Faldo.
Yeah, he's there too. That's what I'm saying. It's not like he's not head and shoulders above those two.
He's also not done.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know what I
thing.
mean?
Like in the end, he will be. Like he's more than likely to win, another 5 to 10 tournaments, maybe another 1 to 2 majors. Like then clearly he's the best European of all time.
Yeah, I think he's there, but I guess you can. He's not done. Especially
with his hard nipples. So
yeah, you can fully shift back to Rory slander now that we're our bags are no longer packed. Yeah, but I was all in on the US. I didn't bet the US. I bet Europe separately. I bet mid Memorial when I wanted some Scotty, and Scotty was like, I don't know, plus 150 on Saturday. I had some Scotty at the Memorial sitting, with Europe pending for since June. So glad to kind of get that one closed out. But yeah, I didn't have any US bets. I just was all in on Keegan and wanted to see the US win, and it was great. We got what we wanted on Sunday.
I didn't get everything I wanted. I don't think I saw him cry.
You're such a dick.
I know. I wanted to see. Well, I want to see a little more passion from him. Maybe he just didn't care. Maybe that was a big problem. He just didn't care enough.
Didn't change the sheets.
20. I'm going to mark this because I feel like there should be timestamps for people who don't want 25 minutes of Ryder Cup talk and they want some Sanderson. I'll put this in the podcast because we should switch over to the Sanderson. We are done with the Ryder Cup for a couple years. We'll be in Ireland in 2 years. Back in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Minnesota. People dog on Hazeltine, and maybe rightfully so. But I tell you what, that was a cow pasture 50 years ago. So I think they've done a pretty nice job with that course. It'll be interesting. I believe my friend was able to go to the last one, and he had to get into a lottery to get tickets, similar to Masters. So I don't know if that'll be the case again. I don't know if it's just smaller and they can't handle the same kind of crowds that Bethpage did. It'll be interesting, and I have some time. That's 4 years away. Who knows?
Just apply for media credentials. Get the whole team up.
I think I'm going to just talk to the PGA and see if I, because that last final thought. Anybody who went as a fan says it's horrible. You don't see any shots. The crowds are too big. You can't poke around. Like even me, I whine about that at the 3M. I don't love going on Sundays. I like to go on Friday. If I'm going as a fan to just walk around, you see way more golf, and it's easier to see the golf because there's not the huge crowds. Like, it looked hard to see the golf, honestly.
It's not a great aesthetic course for viewing anyway, and it's a tough walk.
It's where, I think getting inside the ropes would probably be the best bet. It's easy for me to say, like, I'll just try to get credentials instead. So,
first of all, we'll just drive down here. You sleep on my couch. We can go to the Medina. People are gonna like Medina 3. Big makeover. I'm excited for see that for the President's Cup. But yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting to see. And again, like the U.S. should really use. We'll start to shift to the President's Cup talk before we get to Country Club. Take advantage of the home game in the States in the President's Cup. Let's get Luke Lanton on that team. Let's get Jackson Koiven on that team. Let's get Michael Thorbjornsen on that team. Now, those guys have to go out and get it, right? Let's, the Michael Assassos, all those guys need to go out and earn it. But let's get some reps. Let's use the President's Cup as a team event rep building for the kids. It's like the U.S. basketball back in the day before it was a problem. Like we used to send the collegiate kids to the Olympics, right? The pros didn't go to the Olympics. Like I'm not saying we shouldn't send Scotty to the President's Cup, but let's use the President's Cup, the back end especially, to kind of build to the guys that are going to be a part of these team events moving forward.
That would feel like we'd get yelled at. That would feel so fucking disrespectful. Like, hey, we want to get some young guys some experience. Scotty's not even going to go. We're still going to beat you with one hand tied behind our back. It feels mean, but I almost feel like he shouldn't go. Like, there's no reason for him to go. It's not like, oh, the President's Cup's such a big deal. No, we just win it every year. It's not a thing anymore. Like, let some guys get ready for the Ryder Cup via that. I like that idea.
Yeah, just get some guys out there. I don't know. I think the President's Cup's going to get a little bit more competitive. I think some of the there's some younger upcoming talent on the world side that could be a little bit more competitive and make it fun. We'll see. But I mean, I still think
I want to see Potkeeter.
Yeah, get Potkeeter right here. Bombs. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I'm excited for the President's Cup. I'm partially just because it's in my backyard. So that's it. All right. Country Club of Jackson.
The Country Club of Jackson is
Sanderson Farms.
An easy course. Honestly, I sometimes build models for this in the rabbit hole. And then I look at what I did last year and I'm like, I don't love it. I don't know if that's the ticket, thinking about what happened, what really happened. And I remake it. I did not make a new one. I'm sticking with my old one. It is incredibly simple. There is very little trouble to be found here. It is driver, 2-inch rough, wedges and mids in, make your putts, fast Bermuda. Like it's pretty simple. Spike putting, guys. Find your spike putting. Find some guys who hit the ball a country mile. Driving accuracy probably doesn't matter all that much. So my model was just like driving distance. Basically, how have you been on resort courses? How have you been in alt fields? So I have a just strokes gained total look in only weak fields. So basically, and a lot of them, truthfully, are Bermuda greens because you end up with, when you look at weak fields, you end up with the Puerto Ricos and the, some of the probably Myrtle Beach and some of the alt event fields anyway. So I did that and then some putting and came up with my guys. It was pretty quick process this week. It's, you don't have to go way down the board and find crazy long shots, but you absolutely can. You can get nuts with this one, I think. If you think somebody is an excellent driver of the ball that has good wedge shots and they can't putt worth shit, it's a great, what if they do though? Like,
Kevin,
it doesn't have to be an outright. It can be a top 10 bet on somebody who's like, I don't really want to waste money on a 300 to 1. That's a top 20 bet. I think there's cases for about 80 guys this week. And I mentioned that in the newsletter. I'm not seeing a lot of overlap in the tipsters on Twitter. It's just like everybody's card is just like 4 or 5 different guys from the last one I saw. It's everybody has a case to be made for here.
You look at this, Mayo and I went over this on Monday morning. Like it's just some bombers that can't putt or elite putters. Like Kevin ball striking is fantastic. The putter is atrocious. He gained over 2 shots per round in the greens. Luke List, right? Like we have like a group of Luke List all-stars, right? He's so bad at putting and great at ball striking historically that he has a subset of golfers that are basically in line with him. He is the hierarchy of that. And then you get to Mac Hughes, Sam Burns, great putters. They won this event. You go back to Sergio, maybe it should be the Sergio All-Stars. He's kind of like the OG ball striking god who can, just randomly get it going on the greens, right? So like those are your last 5. They are very, very different, but they are not super different when you start to, piece them up. So because look, you have some guys last year. Who was it? Look at Hayden Springer, 8th last year, just a little bit off the lead, lost 1.25 shots per round on approach and still finished in the top 10 of this event because he's hitting wedges and just buried putts like an alpha. Thor Bjornsson was in the mix here last year. He lost 2 strokes on approach as well, but just got hot with the putter and hits it a mile. So there's just a ton of that in here. So I'm with you. There's no penalty off the tee. Send it. Look at the driver usage over the last couple of years, trending up to last year, 5% higher than the year before. Guys are realizing it just doesn't matter where you land. 320 plus yard drives. That was up significantly over what we've seen here historically. Accuracy down, doesn't matter. You still see really strong greens and reg from the fairway, greens and reg from the rough. Look, greens and reg from the overall kind of in line with where it's been historically. And then from the fairway even up. It doesn't matter. You got to take advantage of these par 4s. Everyone's taking advantage of the par 5s. So good par 4 scorers, I think, matters a lot too. And then you kind of said it's wedges even more so than anything. You look here, total from 50 to 125, almost 30%, because guys are sending it even more. That is significantly above a tour average stop, and then even trending above the baseline here over the last 5 years. So wedges, bombs, get hot with the putter. So I want to show this to people too, although it's not here. We have new around the green data, which I'm really excited about to show people. If you've not heard or seen this yet, we've added the shot types here around the green. So we'll, have some events where it's like, well, around the green from the rough is going to matter here, right? The big, thick aprons around the green, or it's around the green, short grass. Well, now you'll be able to understand each event, how frequently that's happening. So you'll need to know, it's scrambling in the short grass here, and it's actually like 80% of the around the green shots. We have all that data in here now. A bunch of new stuff coming, hopefully DP World Tour data by the time we turn the lights on for January. I don't want to promise that timeline, but Andy and I are really pushing for that. On the back end, we're going to have some stuff that's coming over from Fantasy National as we kind of merge Fantasy National stats. Again, to continue, like you said, no days off. We're not sleeping here. We're going to continue to make this the best resource for you out there. This is our kind of newest ad here. But let's take a look. What do you got from a model standpoint? Let me see. Let me pull up your.
You got to scroll all the way to the bottom because mine was built in 2024. Simple chicken model. You know what's funny too? And, I named it the Simple Chicken model because it's based for this tournament. But I used this several times during the swing season. And I've actually pulled up this model for like a couple of the alt events too. I pulled up this model for Mexico. I think this is the one that spit out Pot Geeter in Mexico, and RIP, because that was very, very painful. He got me back. He got me back later in the year. He paid me back and then some. But boy, I mean, if you are looking for a bomb it, putt it, nothing else in between really matters as long as you're not, the world's worst ball striker on approach. Just kind of a model I've leaned on a few times, and you can see that 50% of it is just how did you play in weak fields and shitty events like this?
Mm-hmm.
Driving distance and then some putting. And I don't think it probably wouldn't hurt to look at spike putting stuff as well this week.
For sure. Yeah, that's spike putting. You can go into our views here. You can go into floor ceiling. Again, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is going to capture any of the strokes gain metrics. You can go into putting and you can get a sense of who's actually, how frequently is someone gaining all the way up to 5 strokes putting per round. How frequently does that happen? So you just look at this field. Taylor Montgomery, Garrick Higo, who I've seen as being a fairly popular click. It makes a ton of sense. Streelman's in this field. Gordon Sargent.
Yeah, like you just said, Kevin Streelman's in this field. That was the nicest thing you could say about it.
4 rounds. We haven't got a lot of Streelman over the last little bit, so this is a really small sample. He basically one time gains 2 strokes putting.
Olsen.
Yeah, Bjorn Olsen here. This is a bigger sample of some really good putting. Sneds, get off the course. I need you getting the team ready for Medina. Let's focus, right? Like, what's the thread count on the local, wherever you guys are staying? Let's get this, dialed in. What's the lighting look like? I need you to really be thinking about these smoothies that the Euro team is. We need to start really replicating stuff. So, unfortunately, Sneds is in the field here playing golf instead of thinking about being a captain. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, you can go into the floor ceiling model and get that spike putting, like Andy said. So, Matty Schmidt. Nikolai is trying to bounce back, get himself back on the 2027 team. He's number 2. Jacob Bridgman, Sam Stevens, Vince Whaley are Andy's top 5 here. So any of these make the card?
Yeah, top 2 did. I like Schmidt a lot too in this format. And then I did bet the Højgaard. He's maybe getting a little disrespected. It was a nice year for Rasmus, but man, looking back to 2 years ago and kind of the highs of the other Højgaard sister. It's tough. It's tough to not bet him. And it was a pretty decent price, I thought. And I shopped around. I think there was a 35. Like, I kind of have to take this guy. He's been really long off the tee. It's not a bad putter. And certainly his highs are absolutely winning a tournament like this in a field like this. So I took Højgaard, I took Schmid, and then I took both Thors. As we mentioned, the Piss Bear himself was somebody who was despite his putting being a little low, as you can see on screen, he's kind of falling into that second quartile of putting amongst golfers in this field. He is somebody who can spike it. He's long off the tee, and he's been very good. So I'm talking Thor Bjornsson, but Thor Bjorn Olsen, not as long off the tee, but a much better putter as well. He is the Piss Bear. I don't want to mix up my Piss Bear and non-Piss Bears. So I took Thor Bjornsson and Thor Bjorn Olsen. So it doesn't matter as long as we get some sort of God of Thunder near the top of the leaderboard. And I just realized that 2 Danishes. It's a terribly unhealthy breakfast, but it might make for a good betting card.
It might. Yeah. All right. Look at you. I don't hate that. Let's pull up the model. Oh, I don't want to generate an image. Let's pull up the model that I made. Some commonalities. Some linkage.
Matty Schmid, too, just good off the tee. Really good off the tee. His short game has let him down, but I don't expect around the green to come into play a ton here. If you're chipping to get up and down a lot here, you're not winning this anyway. So, if he's not hitting these greens that everybody's hitting, it's dead anyway. So it's not really a big negative that he's been kind of rock hands around the green.
As I typically do, probably have more stats on average than you do. Not, again, it's the beauty of this, not right or wrong. I think sometimes keeping it really clean and simple makes it easy. But even so, me adding a bunch, you adding very few, we still come up with Nicolai Højgaard at the top of the model. Look, there's a lot of really good single-digit ranks here for Højgaard, which is, which bodes well for his prospects here. As we move across the board too, he's not a particularly great wedge player. Looks like where he went wrong for me, but again, still fine. Came out on top. This is Bermuda putting, and then I took baseline putting as well. So Bermuda putting not as strong for him. Baseline putting a little bit better. So I did not bet Nicolai, but I did bet the next 2 guys on my model. Emiliano Grillo, who played really well last time out of the Pro Core, played pretty well towards the tail end of last year too, and then played well at this event as well last year. Again, driving distance, he's hanging back, but the putting has been so much better than I think the perception of who he is as a putter. I mean, you look here, baseline last 24 rounds. It's been fantastic overall on the Bermuda. Very good as well. Again, getting docked for distance, but didn't matter a ton for him here last year either. So, he's still going to be competitive. So maybe he's having more, say 125 to 150 shots, which again, he grades out very well at versus the 50 to 100s, which when he has those, he's also grading out pretty well. So Grillo at 35 was one of my bets. Jesper Svensson as well. Sends it off the tee. Can get real hot putting. I got an 80 on Jesper Svensson. I think there's some 60s out there still. Again, all the other stuff too, he grades out really, really well for me. So I took him, and then I'm with you obviously on Michael Thor Bjornsson. I think is just a little bit further down, but again, not too. He's just outside my top 10. But there's no shot in hell that I'm not betting. Thor Bjornsson as we ascended to him taking that next step here. Obviously tops here. I have tops in strokes gained. What is this? This is last 9 months. What else have we got in here? This is making it tough for me to scroll over. Should be able to scroll over here a little bit easier. Last 24 rounds, grading out very, very well for the young mass hole to get it going. So those are my 3. Thor Bjornsson, Grillo, Jesper Svensson. But your guys grade out well for me too. So
that's what I'm saying. Like there's cases to be made for half the damn field here. Take your guys. If you have a guy that owes you, if you have a tax guy where it's like, I've bet this guy a lot and he's never got the win, it's going to feel bad. You kind of got to take him here. Thor Bjornsson is kind of that guy for us. Like we need to keep taking the young American until he gets something done. But take your guys, find some long shots. If you have some really deep long shots you love, like I said, it's probably a good shout on a top 20 price. 4-1 to top 20. You're not going to complain when something like that gets home. So be interesting to see. Weather looks fine. Maybe a little soft. It's going to be hot in the afternoons. The wind is not going to be much of a factor. I looked back at this. Really wasn't any wave advantages over the past 5 years, just because we don't get, it's not like the Texas winds or some coastal course in Scotland where things really kick up in the afternoon. It is, Jackson, Mississippi is not near the coast. It's like midway up the state. So you were just kind of in the heart of the state of Mississippi, in the middle of nowhere, above or not even in the Delta area. So
you can go here to the scoring tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People want to get a sense of that. What Andy's talking about, AM, PM, just see if there's any, noticeable deltas where you could see that there was something you'd want to look back into. But historically has not been a huge edge. I'm surprised. I thought for sure that a Mr. Rico Hoey was going to be on your card.
I've invested a lot into the Rico Hoey.
You see there's a putter change, Andy.
I know. I don't know if I love that.
Well, he can't get worse. A putter change has got to be good for him. He's got one of the the belly lab putters, right? He's got the Zalatoris putter situation going on. Puttered okay for a little bit at the Pro Core. Got to help himself in the mix. So again, he's 35, I think. Let me see where the current Rico Hoey numbers are. There's 35s out there. Chris is 34 and change. I just don't want you to get burnt on not paying the tax on the tax guy. That's all.
Anything else on this?
No.
I think I'm tapped out for Sanderson. We'll be back for the next one. Final Ryder Cup thoughts. There's Azinger said they should have brought Brooks Koepka. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's so many people that are calling for, we shied away from the live players. No, we didn't. We brought Bryson. Like, we brought essentially 10 of the best golfers, and then the bottom 4 spots, the bottom 2 spots were always going to get a little weird. There's no case for Brooks Koepka, the way he played golf over the last year. Like, I get that he won at this course. This was not the same course. That was a completely different course and a completely different golfer. People are like, DJ played pretty well lately. DJ's focus over the last few years does not bode well, I think, for this event. No. And then the only one that I could buy would be Patrick Reed, who has been out there grinding some other events besides live, and he hasn't played that bad. But at the same time, when I like him as a showman and shutting the other team up a little, and he really does live for it. I could live with Patrick Reed over Colin Morikawa, but the other ones are just asinine. Like, the calls to bring Brooks Koepka because he won here 6 years ago is silly. Like, somebody had a good comment. Like, why not Nicholas? Like, he used to be good too. Like, you can't just say like somebody was really good and they still exist. Like, he has to be on the team. Like, I think you had to go watch Brooks at some of these freaking majors over the last season.
No show.
Realize it's just not there right now.
Look, and he's just it's a real thing. I mean, I don't know what people want to pretend it's not, but it is a different style of event, of a team event. And Patrick Reed, the Patrick Reed argument, which I think is fair, he doesn't have a lot of friends in that locker room. And again, I don't want to make it a boys club thing, but
that's not even boys club. It's just Patrick Reed, isn't?
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy that played with him and had success just said a couple of years ago he didn't want to play with him in Paris. Like, Jordan Spieth didn't want to play with him anymore, and whatever, he's got to own that piece of it. And he also, because of the combination of live and the personality piece, he has to go out and solidify it in a Bryson style type of way. Like, lock yourself in on points. And that way that's the way you make it. Otherwise, it's a really hard captain's pick. And it's a very easy Monday morning quarterback thing when things go sideways. First of all, he does it. He did it to his own team in Paris, which is not great. Again, he has to kind of overcome those things with the play. And the play was super borderline to be able to get that done and make that argument.
Yeah.
So
It is curious that
Brooks thing is a
Zinger,
non-starter.
it is curious that Zinger made a case for a known cheater in Patrick Reed to play after what he did. We won't forget what you did in 91. He switched his balls out. You can't do that.
He did.
He did it a bunch, which is funny. And I actually liked it. I've always been a fan of people.
I would say Zinger not being a part of it is like, I get it. Like,
You're a
Zinger,
Patriots fan. You love cheating.
I appreciate the competitive advantages that people are willing to push the boundaries to in order to win. Look, Zinger was a guy that kind of went off the rails with like when he sold his pods. Do you remember like the Zinger, like, SEAL Team
honestly,
6
you know what I think it is? Zinger saw like the article about Chambly and he's like, I got to start just saying crazy shit now too. You know what? That's what sells? I guess there's room for more than one Stephen A. Smith of golf, Brandel. I'm just gonna make shit up too, and we'll make some headlines together. So I don't know. I guess that's the new media.
Yeah. Well, it is for sure. It is for sure. So Alfred Dunhill links. I mean,
I didn't
Tommy,
bet anything.
Fitz, Hatton.
Yeah, there's
Mac,
too many good golfers there, and they're all coming off such a they're coming off such a high. I don't know that I can bet some of those guys that played the Cup.
Correct. Patrick Reed's there. You want to shut everyone up? Patrick Reed, 25, as long as 30. There's some. I mean, look, Brooks. I think Brooks and DJ are in this field. Yeah, Brooks is real short. 28 on Brooks. Cam Smith, recently released from the Dolphins. Yeah, he was 66 on Chris. Bubba's in this field. Potgieter's in this field. Finau's in this field. Some interesting names for sure in the Alfred Dunhill.
Yeah, I haven't even really looked at the course setup. I haven't had a lot of time.
They bounce around the course rotation at the
that's the tough part. It's not like we have a good history here. So plenty of guys I saw on Twitter giving out some Dunhill tips. So follow them if you want it, because I probably won't be betting anything in that one. I
haven't bet it, but like Rattan is the guy that I
and the Furyk and friends. I'll probably bet that one as well in the senior tour. So, all right, let's call it a day. Sanderson. What is next? Is it Bay Current?
It's Bay Current, honestly formerly known as the Zozo.
Formerly known as the Zozo. Up next. So we'll see you guys for that. Good luck with all your bets. If you have not yet subscribed to this in podcast and YouTube form, you should. That'd be nice. If you watch this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you want to check out BetSports Golf, now is a really good time to ask Andy for a free trial. If you DM me and you haven't played with it yet and you want to check out some of the tools, I'll probably give you a code to try it out free for a week because it's the off season. That's probably going to go for most of the off season. Just bug me or Ryan, and we'll probably sneak you in there if you really want to check it out. If you're a new user, if I go in there and I find your email and you used to pay for it and you lied to me, I don't know what I'll do to you. That's some Liam Neeson shit. But if you want to check it out, shoot us a DM and we'll catch you next week.